Good morning. How are you doing today? Well, welcome to Thursday. So, as I was doing some studying and doing some reflecting, um, there's a part of influence that I want to talk about that I haven't heard anybody talk about. Is what I like to refer to as the shadow side. And I know traditionally, when we talk about the shadow side, is the negative effects that a particular thing can have on a situation. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. Now, everybody talks about the great parts of influence, about the things that you can get done, the people you can get to help you to accomplish tasks, the teams you can build. We talk about all of these things, but we never talk about that shadow side. And this is the shadow side. So, in the very beginning, and a lot of leaders have issues with this, and I don't think they really understand why they have issues with it, especially in our type of organization. So, when you have a rank structure, the belief is that it's positional authority. The belief is that once I a certain pay grade, I'll be able to do a certain thing. All right, and people take that from place to place to place, and as they arrive, they have certain expectations. Now, the problem with those expectations is that influence is a part of that. Influence is a part of that expectation that is really not paid attention to. People believe that, okay, this is my station, this is my position, I am entitled to X. This is the way that things should happen. Like, it shouldn't take time, it should be immediately, it should be seamless from one place to another. Now, here's the issue. The issue is this. Yes, the appointed position was given, but now you have to earn the respect of the people. All right, now there's going to be respect for the rank. I got it, but you have to earn the respect of the people because at the end of the day, the power always lies with the people. Because if you look at it, a general can't win a war by him or herself. They need people to do that for them. They need people to execute the plans and the strategies and the tactics that they have amassed over the years and the knowledge that they have. They need people to execute that for them. So the power lies with people. Now, with the where the problem is when the leader gets to that point where they feel like people are unresponsive, um, people are going to other people instead of them, maybe they just feel like they don't actually have that proverbial or physical control over situations that they would like to have. Now, this is where a leader has to understand influence. In the beginning, it's gonna suck. All right, bottom line, that's the simplest way I can put it. It's gonna suck. You're gonna get there, and you're gonna want that process to go very quickly. It's not gonna happen. I'm just telling you right now. I don't care who you are. It's not gonna happen. Like, I don't care how strong your reputation is. There's gonna be people there that are not. They're not gonna. They're just not gonna be with the program. And there's where you, as a leader, you have to be able to go to those people and figure out how do you articulate your point. How do you get them to buy in to you as leader, not your plans, not where you want to go, but how do you get them to buy into you? Because I'm telling you, this part of influence sucks. Any leader that's willing to be transparent will tell you that they've been through this. Like, you're gonna get there, and in the beginning, you're gonna want things to just go. But the more you learn about influence and the more you learn about leadership, you'll be able to recognize it and you'll be able to identify it. And when you can recognize these things and you can identify them for what they are, now there's a little bit, you have more control over the situation. Now you can sit back and be like, okay, I see what's going on here. They're talking to this other person because they have a better rapport with them. They've worked with them for longer. They're not as comfortable with me yet. So I need to put a little bit more work in to build that relationship more so that person trusts me to come to me and get that answer. Because people like and I've heard people say this a million times, but until I read the laws of human nature, it didn't really sink in. They say people do business with people they know and they like. They do business with people they know and they like because they're familiar. All right. Familiar is tied to the word like. Familiar. That's all like is. It's something that you are familiar with. And that's why a lot of times when you try to implement something that's new, you get pushback because people aren't familiar with it. But you can build a relationship with them to show them, like, look, it's okay. I'm putting my name on this. It's going to be okay. If you trust me, trust this process, and I'll get you to where you need to go. That's leadership. That's influence. All right. When you can get past that initial piece, like if you can just stick it out in there and stay and get past that initial piece, I promise you it'll get better. It'll get a whole lot better. So you have to be able to recognize and identify what's going on. If you can't recognize and identify what's going on, it's gonna get you up. You're gonna be really upset. You're gonna feel like you're being disrespected. You're gonna feel like, people are not how can I put this? People are not giving you your just due. You're always gonna feel as if you're being slighted. In the MRT world, we call those the anger glasses. When you put those, and when everything you see it makes you angry, it makes you upset, it's because you got those angry glasses on. It's the same thing with disrespect. All right. If you got those disrespect glasses on and you're just looking for reasons for someone to have disrespected you, you're going to see disrespect all the day. That's that confirmation bias. If you go out looking for a specific thing and only that thing, you're going to find it. And the reason that you find it is because you're not looking for data that is against what your belief is. If you don't look for data that's against your belief is, guess what? You will only find data that's going to support your belief. That's not an informed decision. A lot of people would call that irrational. You're being irrational in your thinking and your fact finding. And if you're irrational, you're not going to make great decisions. And that's why I wanted to talk about the shadow side of influence, because I haven't heard anybody talk about that initial phase, and especially to our young leaders, especially like our young E5s, because I had a sergeant major sit down, sergeant major, his first name is Raymond. I can't remember his last name. He's gonna kill me, but he's an engineer. I'm gonna remember his name and I'm gonna tag him in this one. But the very first conversation me and him had was about what does a soldier, what do we teach our sergeants to do when a soldier tells them no? What do we teach them to do? That's a potentially dangerous situation. Like, we need to do some risk mitigation there. We need to do some risk mitigation, because if we don't do risk mitigation, how is that young sergeant going to handle the very first time someone tells them no? That could go badly. It could go good. It could go bad. But to remove that risk and to do some risk mitigation, we need to have this conversation. Like, look, when that individual tells you no, now we need to think about how to chain of command, get over here in the camera, how the chain of command supports the NCO support channel and vice versa. The way the chain of command supports the NCO support channel is this. The NCO channel's job is to enforce discipline and standards. That's what we do. We make sure we instill discipline and we enforce standards. Now, when that proverbial soldier or that person decides to say, hey, I'm not going to stick to the standard. I'm going to do what I want to do. Now the chain of command comes in, and this is how the chain of command supports the NCO support channel, because at the end of the day, the NCO support channel is basically just carrying out and enforcing the orders that's been given to them by the chain of command. Now, the way that the chain of command supports the NCO support channel is with UCMJ. All right, I gave authority and I gave the responsibility to the non-commissioned officers to do X. You decided to say, hey, I'm not going to do that. So that's like you telling me you're not going to do it. So here's some UCMJ. So maybe the next time in your decision-making process, when you think about disobeying a lawful, moral, ethical order, you'll think twice about it. If you don't think twice about it, then that's fine too. Maybe you need to seek employment elsewhere. And that's how the NCO support channel supports the chain of command and vice versa. But this is the conversation that we have to have with our young sergeants, because if we don't have this conversation, they could potentially go out there, and because now they're not aware of the first portion of this influence piece, they're just seeing the mountains that you're moving as their leader, and they're seeing all of these great things, and they want to be like you. And the expectation is that once they get that rank, they're trying to be like you, and now they're having problems, having issues. They're not taking into consideration all the lessons you had to learn, all the failures you had, all the opposition that you faced, and how you learned to navigate that stuff. They're just seeing it as this person is good. It's kind of like an athlete. When an athlete does the thing, it seems seamless because they're so smooth at doing it. It just seems so easy, so easy. But people don't take into account everything that goes into that. So this is what I'm saying. Like, these are the conversations that we have to have with our junior soldiers and even some of our mid-level soldiers, our staff sergeants. That lesson, that light bulb just may not click. Somebody may have to help them click that proverbial light bulb. And this is how we do it. Having that conversation about this is what you do when someone says no. And, you know, prepping the battlefield by having a conversation of this is how the chain of command supports the NCO support channel and vice versa. If we prep the battlefield, then have that conversation, we set our leaders up for success with expectation management. So now instead of them feeling as if they're disrespected and powerless, they know this is how the system works. This is how the system works. This is how the machine works. Okay. So I just wanted to talk about the shadow side of influence. Influence works, but it takes time. All right. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna get off of here. I heard somebody compare two things that I never would have compared before because we're going through a shift right now in our organization where seniority is no longer going to get you where you need to go. Your work ethic will. All right. The person that works the hardest and has the best skills, all right, and is proven through their records, that's the person that's going to win. All right. That's the person that's going to rise to the top and get promoted. That is our system in a nutshell. But here's the thing. What I heard was this. They said seniority is the same thing as influence. Seniority is the same thing as influence. Like when you look at it and you break it down for what it is, seniority is influence. Now, I'm not saying that every person who is senior or has seniority has influence, but if they had done it right and they built those relationships along the way, then guess what? Now they have the influence to talk to the people that they need to talk to get people to do the things that they need to make their lives easier. So seniority can be influence. All right. And that is what, I think that can be a double-edged sword. It can be a good thing and it can also be a bad thing. But there's been things put into place to ensure that the best qualified people make it to the top. Our system isn't perfect. I'm not saying that, but it definitely provides us with something that we have never had before. And if we can hone in on that, and now you have an accurate way of saying, like, okay, this is what my number is. What didn't I do? What can I still do? And you start acting upon those things. Hey, it'll all be okay. It'll all be okay. All right. Okay. Hey, Alex, what's going on, my brother? I see you out there. Hey, we're gonna get that lunch today. Uh, Captain Frazier, how you doing? How you doing? All right. So, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here. I just wanted to come to y'all and talk to y'all about that. Once again, I was long-winded. I apologize. I went over my 5-minute rule, but I just felt that we needed to talk about that. All right. So here we go. Look, you are important, you matter, and don't let anybody ever make you feel as if you're insignificant. If you do, get into the inbox. All right. The NCOPD Live team is here for you. We are here for you. Get into that inbox. If you have something, we will get back to you in a timely manner. All right. Thrive Legion is here for you. That's right. My sister's here for you. Coming to a theater near you. And guess what? Let's talk about it. All of us are here for you in this journey we like called life. And as I always say, life is a choice, and I'm depending on you to choose well. Oz here signing out. I'll be talking to you soon.